Ed was born on August 27, 1906, in La Crosse County, Wisconsin, USA. He was the second son of George and Augusta Gein, a family plagued by dysfunction and strict moral control. His father, George, was an alcoholic who struggled to keep steady employment, often working odd jobs to support the family. His mother, Augusta, was a fanatically religious and domineering woman who instilled in her sons a deep fear of sin and a hatred toward women, especially those she considered impure. Augusta often quoted the Bible and preached that sexual desire was evil, shaping Ed's distorted understanding of morality and human relationships. The family lived in extreme isolation on a small farm outside Plainfield, Wisconsin. Augusta deliberately kept Ed and his older brother Henry away from the outside world, forbidding them from making friends or socializing. Their only regular contact was with each other and their mother, who held complete emotional and psychological control over them. Ed was described as quiet, shy, and socially awkward, yet he was known for being polite and hardworking in school. Despite these traits, his lack of social exposure and his mother's harsh influence left deep emotional scars. After the death of his father in 1940, and later the suspicious death of his brother Henry in 1944, Ed became completely dependent on his mother. When Augusta passed away in 1945, Ed's world collapsed. Left utterly alone, his mental state began to deteriorate, marking the beginning of his descent into the disturbing behaviors that would later shock the world. After his mother's death, Ed became increasingly isolated and mentally unstable. He kept her room perfectly preserved, untouched, while the rest of his farmhouse decayed into filth and chaos. In his growing loneliness and obsession with his mother, Gein developed a fascination with death, anatomy, and the female body. He began visiting local cemeteries at night, where he would exhume recently buried women who reminded him of his mother. He took body parts from graves and brought them home, using them in twisted projects, crafting household items and clothing that reflected his delusional need to recreate or become his deceased mother. Despite the shocking discoveries later made at his home, Gein was officially connected to two murders. Mary Hogan, 1954, a tavern owner who disappeared one night. Locals assumed she had left town until parts of her remains were found in Gein's home years later. Bernice Warden, 1957, a hardware store owner whose disappearance led to Gein's capture. Police found her body in his farmhouse, along with horrifying evidence of other crimes. When police searched Gein's property, they uncovered a collection of human remains taken from both murder victims and graves. Investigators realized that for years he had been robbing graves and using the remains for his bizarre rituals and creations. Between 1947 and 1952, Gein regularly exhumed the bodies of recently deceased women from local cemeteries. He brought the corpses back to his farm, where he mutilated them and used their remains to create various items, which included masks made from human faces, a woman's suit made of skin, bowls made from skulls, a lampshade made from skin, chairs upholstered in human skin, a box containing severed female genitals. Gein was also a suspect in other unsolved disappearances, and some believe he may have killed his older brother, Henry, in 1944, though his death was officially ruled an accident due to asphyxiation in a fire. Gein's gruesome acts and the discovery of his House of Nightmares shocked the public. Gein's actions were rooted in extreme mental illness, a combination of trauma, grief, and a psychotic attachment to his mother. Experts later described his behavior as a form of psychosis and gender confusion, combined with deep guilt and loneliness. He admitted to wearing human skins in an attempt to feel closer to his mother, an act that revealed just how fractured his sense of reality had become. When questioned, Ed Gein cooperated calmly and even politely, showing little understanding of the horror he had caused. He was found legally insane and committed to a psychiatric institution for the rest of his life. The details of the crime scene, once made public, shocked the world. The case gave rise to some of the most iconic horror villains in cinema, including Norman Bates, Psycho, Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill, The Silence of the Lambs. Though Ed Gein's confirmed number of victims was small, the psychological depth and disturbing nature of his crimes redefined the world's idea of a serial killer. His story is less about numbers and more about the terrifying potential of isolation, obsession, and the human mind unraveling in the dark.